guess what? Nobody has to play as him. But as with pretty much everything else in this game, it is optional. Why are people so angry over the existence of choices? This is an RPG. You can dislike Yasuke and then not play him.
This has got to be my new favorite lefty or centrist grifting talking points, the bro, like why are you even mad? You don't actually have to play as Yasuke, it's just optional, dude. It's like an RPG, which let's just be real for like 5 seconds here, okay? Calling We Was Kang Shadows an RPG is like calling The Last of Us 2 a good game. Like that's just some I sit at the lunch table with protective headgear levels of retarded energy right there, okay?
Real talk.
But no, we are the brain dead ones according to upper echelon gamers here, and we are also intellectually dishonest and incapable of self-reflection. Oh my god, bro. Upper echelon is the super duper high IQ overlord, which we all should bow before because he is literally so much more superior than us peasants.
Real talk.
Instead of shitting on a piece of shit company that is Ubisoft, we should instead be guzzling and slurping down Yasuke's 6-incher.
That's right.
And be praising Ubisoft for making such a good game with a black, stunning, and brave character that is known as Yasuke that nobody ever asked for and was only put into the game for DI purposes.
Real talk. Real talk.
And most likely because of the St. Floyd protests, alright, let's be honest here. Like, Ubisoft really thought they were cooking up something special with this one, something really good in that oven. Like, they really thought that Yasuke was gonna end racism in the world and bring world peace across the nations and shit. But unfortunately for a mostly peaceful Yasuke here, who only destroys shit and kills people, you know, mostly peacefully, he has brought the opposite of world peace and has fueled hatred in our cold, bitter hearts to come together to hate and shit on Ubisoft and We Was Kang Shadows. But anyways, if it wasn't already obvious enough, we are taking a look at everybody's favorite better than thou content creator, Upper Echelon Gamers, where he constantly talks as if he is above everybody else, as with constantly calls everybody else idiots for not possessing his level 10 intelligence stat.
I think a lot of people outraged over this game, adamantly claiming it's a failure and condemning it 6 Ways to Sunday for reasons they simply heard from social media, are brain dead and they're beneath the rest of us. But
Why am I poisoned? Why am I toxic? What?
And yes, he was the guy who defended Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, it's been well over a month after that game's release at this point, and it feels like almost every video at this point I have to mention it or talk about it, because it really did expose a lot of these dipshits, and was a blessing in disguise if we're gonna be honest. Upper Echelon is also the guy who made the really shitty Doom Eternal review like 5 years ago, if anybody actually remembers that shit. And today we will be taking a look at his We Was Kang Shadow video called Inevitable, and then in parentheses, excessive hate Assassin's Creed Shadows, with Yasuke as the thumbnail, and in the biggest letters possible, hate in all caps. Oh no, you guys, people don't like Yasuke, the DEI character. That doesn't make our wokey and shill friend here very happy. You know, not too happy at all. Leave the billion-dollar companies alone, you guys. Leave the billion-dollar companies alone, dude. Consume product and get excited for next product, am I right?
alright, today's video is probably going to make some people angry, but quite frankly I really don't care, because in my view, Assassin's Creed Shadows is getting a ridiculous and excessive amount of hate from the gaming community, a lot of which it just doesn't actually deserve.
So I can't help that you're stupid and you don't understand intelligent, like, conversation and intelligent commentary on something and criticism. So, sorry that you're stupid.
I feel like it's not getting enough hate, to be honest. It should be getting even more hate. These motherfuckers at Ubisoft have been selling you the exact same copy-pasted game for the past 10 years or so at this point, with just a different skin attached to it for each game. But disregarding the Ubisoft selling you the same shit each year but just repackaged, for anybody who doesn't know, both Naoe and Yasuke have 2 gay romance options in feudal Japan, by the way. And also, one of the ABC lovers for Yasuke is literally a non-binary they/them. Again, in feudal fucking Japan, with some of the most forced and extremely gay dialogue you've ever heard, or at least you've ever heard in the past like month.
What a thoughtful gift, Yasuke. I don't know what to say.
Really? I do not think I have ever seen you quite so tongue-tied.
I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay, we're totally gay.
Then there's also the elephant in the room that you play as Yasuke, a fellow brother of color, who wasn't ever even a samurai to begin with, but a simple retainer. But it's even funnier since the one time Ubisoft is going to make you play as a historically accurate character, and when I say that, I put it in heavy quotations. The one time they just so happen to do it, they choose the fellow brother. You know, is that a coincidence? I'm not sure, honestly. And then on top of all of this, the story is dog shit, and it's the typical modern day leftist bullshit of revenge is bad. Don't kill Yasuke even though he murdered your entire village, because revenge is bad, dude. Like, you know, revenge is just, it's bad. You can't do that. We just need to like forgive all our enemies and shit.
You beg forgiveness?
Yeah, fuck Yasuke, kill his dumb ass. Send his ass back to the fucking Shadow Realm.
Look at me.
Old fool should have used the Fent bombs.
Stick your head on an even spear. So until
Do
the
it.
crows take
Do
your
it.
eyes, you can
Stop
see
with the
them
gay ass monologue and just do it, you stupid dumb bitch.
Stay out of it, Junjiro.
No, you don't understand.
He killed Egans, my family. He's a monster.
Then you're a monster too.
Good, now I'm away from that annoying fucking bitch of a kid who I would have slapped in real fucking life if they talked to me like that. I would have fucking pimp slapped that shit out of that.
You see little Timmy over there who was touched by Herbert the pervert? Bro, you just gotta forgive him, okay? Love is love, dude. Revenge bad. Just consume some more Soylent, okay? And eat your plant-based meats and be a good little boy, okay?
Now, just to get something straight from the very beginning, there certainly are a multitude of things to criticize about the game, some of which I'll discuss soon. But for some reason, I have suspicions about what those reasons are, but for right now, that's less important. For some reason, this game is now a lightning rod for what feels like the most absurd, vitriolic, and asinine critique that I've seen from the video game community in years, with a certain cohort of creators and their dedicated fans grasping at every single straw that they can find in order to reinforce the narrative that this game is a colossal failure. Spoiler, it's not. I wouldn't call it Game of the Year, not by any stretch.
What does it having to be a failure have anything to do with the Game of the Year? But to call this game a failure would probably be the biggest understatement of the century, since it's had a grand total of 3 million players. Remember, players, not sales. Meaning most of these players who are playing the game, most of these 3 million players probably didn't buy the game and are just playing it for, you know, the subscription service off of Uplay for like, what, $10 or $15 or however much it costs. And also Tencent, for anybody who doesn't know or hasn't been keeping up with the gaming news, now owns 25% of Ubisoft. So yeah, I don't really think it takes a rocket scientist here to figure out why and how Tencent now owns 25% of Ubisoft, okay?
Like, real talk.
Ghost of Tsushima was better, obviously, but it's got a few things going for it, with marginal success in tow, and I think it's important to acknowledge that Ubisoft is in a bit of an unwinnable situation.
You failed. You're done. It's over. You lose. Good day, sir.
For years, people have claimed that their development cycle is stagnating, they lack innovation, and never break new ground. But at the same time, with Shadows, when they appear to actually try and correct those issues, they get slammed for making changes that people don't like.
So I can't help that you're stupid.
Correct what issues, little bro? You want to list some of these issues that Ubisoft has tried to correct and fix? Like, really? Because for me personally, and probably everybody else who has played a Ubisoft game in the past decade or so, it plays identical to every other one. Literally every single quest or side objective, and I'm not even joking or exaggerating when I say this, is either clear the bandit camp, kill 3 Daishos, climb Ubisoft Tower number 545, collect 3 scrolls, pray at 3 shrines, and that's pretty much it. Every location on the map that you see is doing one of those things that I just mentioned. They haven't remedied or fixed shit. It's literally just the same copy-paste locations and camps posted all over the map where you do the same exact shit you did in the previous 50. The game still has the shitty leveling system also. If you're below 2 to 3 levels, enemies will just one-shot you or two-shot you, so you have to go to the previous area to grind to enter the new zone. You still can't one-shot assassinate certain enemies in an Assassin's Creed game. You play as Yasuke, which has like no traditional assassin abilities like at all, nor can he even climb shit. Like, you could easily argue they made everything worse. Like, I'm waiting for you to list those issues, okay? Like, where are these issues that they fixed?
With some of the fastest moving goalposts that I've ever seen. It's not even goalposts at this point. It's just an infinitely expanding target where everything they do is bad and the game is a terrible failure, even though it's objectively not.
It objectively is. Again, Tencent just bought 25% of Ubisoft. Like, does this guy have stocks in Ubisoft, by the way? It honestly wouldn't surprise me with this sheer level of shilling and damage control that he is doing for Ubisoft right now. But I mean, he is a shill, so like, what the fuck do we expect? Like, this is typical for, you know, his type of people.
This extremely vocal and seemingly growing subset of the gaming community, primarily the anti-woke content creator sphere and their followers, have completely lost the plot.
Yeah, we have all lost the plot for calling out a woke piece of shit game,
as they now scream about things which hold zero merit, simply because they are incapable of self-reflection, intellectual honesty, or admitting that none of this ever had anything to do with real principles. This was about clicks. It was about ad revenue in particular.
Just like how this video that you are making is also just clickbait and also to get, you know, that sweet, juicy ad revenue. Like, look at your thumbnail, little bro, and have some self-awareness.
Dude, you look in the fucking mirror, you stupid muppet?
Like me, for example, I am the self-awareness Latina queen, who is the most self-aware and pure. So make sure to hit that like button and join the Latina kingdom, as I, your Latina queen, will never let you down. Ever. And I will never show you any dog shit woke piece of shit games ever either, okay? I will only show you good games. Games that people should actually play, and games that, you know, aren't dog shit.
In much the same way that crowd has now gone totally silent on the subject of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which was a massive financial success and Game of the Year contender as well, they'll probably go silent about Shadows sometime soon.
Really gotta love more Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 shilling, but also, what do you mean by we have gone silent? If anything, it's the casuals who have gone silent. They played that trash for 2 weeks for a grand total of 5 hours, calling it a masterpiece and Game of the Year to justify them spending $60 on a video game, just to move on to the next overhyped game the following week. Also, does he really expect us all to just be making videos on KCD 2 for like the next year or until the ends of fucking time on how it's, you know, bad and woke? Like, there's nothing else really to say on the topic. The game is dead. Everything has been covered. Nobody cares about it anymore, let's be honest, and rightfully so. It was a dog shit game. It was not a good game.
Enjoy being a sucker, dude. Real talk.
Let's get to it. First example of what is, in my opinion, extremely valid criticism. Yasuke, the joint main character, protagonist of the game, absolutely sucks.
Awful, terrible, horrible thing to say. Only immature, really fucked up people would do that.
Ubisoft, more so than probably any other entry in the Assassin's Creed franchise, tiptoed a lot closer this time to the idea of historical accuracy, choosing, for the first time ever, I think, to make an actual historical figure playable.
Well, you heard it from the man himself. Yasuke sucks, remember that one. And then he goes on to say that Ubisoft chose for the first time ever to make a historical character playable in the main character, which you kinda need to ask yourself the question, why? Why did Ubisoft do it for the one character who just so happens to be black in feudal Japan to be a playable and main character? I mean, come on, we all know why, okay? Because he's a DEI character and they want to push the message. Then he goes on to briefly mention a historian named Thomas Lockley, which is basically a revisionist historian who makes up bullshit to paint narratives like Yasuke was actually a Kang and did indeed fight as a samurai and shit. Cleopatra was actually a black queen. You know, everybody back in the day, all historical figures were actually black people. You know, black people built the entire world. Black people fucking created everything. Literally, we should all get on our fucking knees and we should all suck the 6 inches of the black people. You know, they're so fucking amazing. I love them so much. Oh my god. We should all be gay for the Tyrones and we should all bow before the Shaniquas, okay? We was literally Kangs and shit. You know, that type of shit is basically what this retard does. And Ubisoft got him to help with Yasuke, and so, you know, we can see like why Yasuke is like this and why he's portrayed the way that he is. So we'll just skip forward a bit because we don't need to be, you know, taught a history lesson that we probably already know.
It turns out you can basically just not play as Yasuke.
Did this motherfucker even boot up the game for like 5 minutes? Like, really? You literally start the game as Yasuke, you fucking retard, and need to play as him. He is the very first character you are forced to play, not to mention there are other parts in the game where you are again forced to play him.
The joint main character feature that Ubisoft has now further emphasized compared to previous entries in the series lets you swap in and out pretty much at will, which makes it so that instead of using the wildly out of place, historically disputed, bumbling, clunky, Hulk-esque brawler which feels completely asinine in the world of Assassin's Creed.
That sounds kind of racist to me. Calling the black man a bumbling and clunky Hulk-esque brawler is kind of fucked up, not gonna lie. What are you trying to imply, that all black people are like animals who just destroy shit because they're all like, you know, Hulk brawlers who can't control themselves and they just destroy shit on sight, and that, you know, they can't control themselves? Like, are you trying to imply, dare I say, that they are like apes? You fucking racist piece of shit. Fuck you. Can we please cancel this racist? Thank you.
If you took this game, right, this is the important part. If you took this game, literally just deleted Yasuke, just deleted him completely, and then relaunched it afterward, I don't think there would be even a fraction of the hate that it's currently getting.
I mean, you'd still be playing a Ubisoft game at the end of the day, which people always hate on, and rightfully so, since Ubisoft makes the same game every single year with zero innovation or change. And then on top of that shit, they constantly do stupid shit, like when they said we need to get used to not owning our games. Oh yeah, and you know, Nawe would still be in the game, you know? You'd still also be playing as her, the girl boss body type 2, same body type attracted person, Nawe. Like sure, it obviously wouldn't be getting nearly as much hate, but it still would be getting a lot, let's just be honest, okay?
But see, that's an issue, because why on earth, in a post-release environment where we now understand the distinctly different playstyles of these two characters, with the added impact of not really being required to play very much as whichever one you dislike, why are we still clinging to the fact that Yasuke sucks in order to say the game is a total failure?
I don't know about that one, honestly. Let me do some long, hard thinking to think of a good response, okay? I think it's mostly due to the fact that Yasuke is one of the 2 playable characters, which, not gonna lie, not an expert in like algebra or anything, but like considering there's only 2 playable characters and one of them is Yasuke, and you know, 1 out of 2 is 50%, which means half the characters in the game, because there's only 2, doesn't even get a proper stealth kill, nor even climb up buildings in an Assassin's Creed game, is probably why people are saying the game is a total failure. Not to mention, again, the sales are piss poor and Tencent now owns 25% of Ubisoft. So like, we have Yasuke, right, which is 50% of the game or character selection, and he is a major component to the game and is integral to the actual story. So yeah, we can probably say the game is dog shit and it's not just an optional character or some bullshit like that, which you can just ignore because it's optional. Also, again, it's more than just Yasuke as to why the game is a failure and dog shit. People just also dislike and hate Ubisoft for other obvious reasons, such as repetitive gameplay or microtransactions in single player games that give you stat boosts or speed up the grindfest gameplay, selling you the solution to a problem they created in a full priced game.
I agree wholeheartedly that Yasuke is garbage. He can barely climb walls, he doesn't even have eagle vision, navigating the world with him is a chore, and watching him run through solid wood castle doors is just a complete joke. It's somebody's power fiction fantasy type thing, and it's just decidedly stupid, okay? Especially because he doesn't even have a silent assassination in Assassin's fucking Creed. But guess what? Nobody has to play as him. But as with pretty much everything else in this game, it is optional.
You really gotta love how he just shits on Yasuke, and then we get to the bro, you know, it's just optional argument of the video, which is another thing though. People didn't want Yasuke in the game. They wanted a native Japanese person, you know, somebody who is actually Japanese, just like how in every other Assassin's Creed game, you play as characters native to wherever the game takes place. Wow, people have been waiting and begging for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan for what, over a decade now at this point, and we finally get it, only for it to be not what anybody wanted or asked for. But remember, it's just optional, just ignore it, dude.
Sometime recently, but I couldn't put my finger on when. But people now appear to be viscerally angry that a choice they don't like even exists in the first place.
So I can't help that you're stupid and you don't understand intelligent, like, conversation and intelligent commentary on something and criticism. So, sorry that you're stupid.
What kind of retarded statement is this? People are mad that there are choices that they don't like exist in games? Like, yeah, no shit. More choices isn't always a good thing, especially if the choices are only there for propaganda. Imagine this, okay? Imagine a new game comes out, and there are a bunch of choices to romance trans black characters who are in wheelchairs with Down syndrome, and they are all the same sex that you are. Like, sure, It's just optional. Like, would that really make the game better, being able to romance the Tyrones in wheelchairs with Down syndrome? Like, I don't really think so. Like, sure, it's just optional, but if it doesn't improve or add to the actual game or the gameplay, then why the fuck is it even there in the first place? And for the sake of Yasuke, if like you said Yasuke is such a dog shit character that plays like shit, which you basically said yourself, then why is it in the game in the first place? I can't criticize that. Why not? Because it's optional? Or is it because it goes against the message? Is that why? And you're a woke lefty lunatic and you have to defend that. You know, it's in your nature to defend it. Yeah, that's probably it, let's be honest. Don't criticize Yasuke, you guys, because it's just optional to play as him. You don't have to romance that gay non-binary character as Yasuke. Just ignore it. Just like how there are Sand brothers mostly peacefully entering your countries in the UK and shit. You know, just ignore them. They may only mostly peacefully touch your women, that's all. We should just ignore everything and stop noticing everything, because everything in life is just optional too. Like, what a fucking clown this guy is.
Real talk.
I can understand that outrage when the player is forced to do something, but when did we switch over from don't force me to play as something I don't want to in a franchise where I have certain expectations to don't you dare even create something I don't like, even if I never have to engage with it hardly at all? Why is that happening? In my view, and this is purely just personal opinion, criticism or outrage over Yasuke has rapidly become invalid now.
How has it become invalid now? Because people on the right side are talking about it, or because too many people are making a deal about it? How does it all of a sudden become invalid? If it was valid before, how has it become invalid? Like, genuine question.
People seem very concerned about how Yasuke can romance certain other characters, or how there's a non-binary interaction of some kind, and I would agree with people if any of that was ever forced on the player.
Oh my god, we're still doing the forced argument. It doesn't matter whether it's forced or not, it shouldn't be in the game regardless. The only reason it's in the game, again, is to push the message, to normalize degeneracy. Get mad at me for saying that. Sorry, not sorry. That most people are too big of pussies to actually say shit that everybody else also feels and knows is true, but are too coward to speak up. It's degenerate and it's woke. You know, I can say it because I am the Latina queen. I am a Latina of color, so you know I can say that shit. You know, it's fine for me to say it, okay?
But Ubisoft put in an entire separate mode of the game called canon mode. You can select an experience that removes those choices entirely from the main menu before you even start the overall experience, which leaves me baffled, honestly, because people are still genuinely outraged over the existence of characters and choices that they never even have to basically see.
They shouldn't be in the game regardless of whether or not I see them, or there's an option to turn it off. It's like how Avowed allows you to turn off the pronouns, okay? And it's still in the game. You're still appeasing and catering to the woke dipshits. It's all of a sudden okay now for games to have pronouns, I guess, as long as you know, give us the option to turn it off. No, remove the shit entirely. We don't want any of this bullshit in games at all, okay? We don't want any of it.
Feel free to chime in down below in the comment section if you want to, but how does that really make sense? I could talk about this for quite some time. For anyone who's not aware of this, I used to criticize games often for shoehorned diversity and political narratives like 7 or 8 years ago. And now watching this new age of anti-woke content creator basically parrot watered down or much less articulated talking points well and truly after the tide seems to have shifted feels kind of weird.
Yeah. Weird.
At the same time, that was 7 or 8 years ago, so maybe I just grew up.
Now he's talking down to everybody once again. What a condescending little shit. You heard that though, right? He used to talk about the woke shit like 7 to 8 years ago, but then he grew up and now these new age content creators just aren't as articulate as he is. We just don't possess his high levels of IQ. We don't watch enough Rick and Morty to be able to articulate our points as well as he can. Like, imagine unironically being subbed to this guy while he is constantly spitting in your face and down your throat to his audience and others 24/7 about how he is just a better person. I do love that shit though. We used to be like you, but then we grew up. We learned better. Absolute bundle of sticks behavior, I'm not even gonna lie.
Anyway, criticism of Yasuke in some respects is understandable, and certainly was understandable. But now, post-release, it feels a little bit more hollow, and in my opinion, kind of invalid.
Okay, how's it invalid? Do you care to explain to us peasants? Oh, enlightened one, how is it invalid? So next he's gonna yap for quite some time about how Ubisoft has done all of this stupid shit to disrespect the Japanese, such as using incorrect symbols, using material they didn't own the copyright for, one-leg torii gates, able to destroy the shrines as the black man himself, Yasuke.
There's a lot of blunders that Ubisoft has made. At one point, they were using incorrect samurai clan symbols. They used material that they didn't own the copyright for, which was a pretty big blunder. They had a one-legged torii gate on a figurine of Yasuke, which is closely tied to an iconic shrine in Nagasaki. And more recently, the topic of shrines came into question itself after a clip went viral on social media of Yasuke destroying one of them in-game.
Then immediately follows that with, is this really some insane cultural disrespect? Like, bro.
Let's take a minute here and just be honest with ourselves, okay? Is this really some sort of insane cultural disrespect on the part of Ubisoft?
Are you like slow in the fucking head? Do you have the Joe Biden dementia or something? Like, you just listed all these things that are disrespectful in these blunders of Ubisoft. Then you're like, yeah, you know, it wasn't really that, you know, yeah, they didn't actually mean it, you know, everybody, you know, makes mistakes, you know, Ubisoft, they're actually good people, and they're actually really good people. Like, why is everybody hating on Ubisoft? They're great people. Then that's not even mentioning the fact that you can romance Oichi, who was the sister of Nobunaga, and she literally by definition gets blacked. But yeah, the game isn't disrespectful towards the Japanese according to our enlightened, brother, upper echelon gamers. Maybe one day I'll have your intelligence, but unfortunately for me, that day is not today. RIP. Else in the chat for me, the Latina queen, it's over, you guys. Afterwards, he yaps on for quite some time again about pointless bullshit that he's already said before till we get to the 3 million players shit, where he somehow in his enlightened state of mind thinks 3 million players is a success for, you know, Ubisoft, for a quadruple A fucking game, when this game had a total of 2 hours of people working on it during the credits and like thousands upon thousands of, you know, workers. Like, motherfucker, this game needs to sell tens of millions of copies to even break even. If this was an indie game, sure, 3 million, you know, players or sales would be fine or great even, but also pay attention to the wording. It says players, not sales, because let's be honest, most of those players are probably coming from Uplay, which is only like what, $10-15 a month, so they're not even buying the fucking game, and they're probably gonna unsubscribe once they finish the game or they're done with it.
This is what's called a Pyrrhic victory for them, because it's certainly a victory, resulting in the company continuing on with significant runway while avoiding the prospect of losing control or being subjected to some sort of hostile takeover. But it's a victory that comes at a time, and with such a cost, it's not exactly a moment for celebration.
So I can't help that you're stupid.
I think a lot of people outraged over this game, adamantly claiming it's a failure and condemning it 6 ways to Sunday for reasons they simply heard from social media, are brain dead and they're beneath the rest of us. But
Am I poisoned? Why am I toxic? What?
Then he shills for Ubisoft some more, trying to downplay this game, selling poorly, and pretending this isn't the final nail in the coffin for Ubisoft, when it truly and really is. And again, Tencent bought 25% of Ubisoft, but you know, he's a shill, so obviously he needs to shill for Ubi shit. Then he spits on us some more, just one last time, just one final time at the end of the video, just so that we can savor the spit that he spat in our mouths by calling us all brain dead, because again, we are not as enlightened as he is. Hopefully I never do become enlightened like him, otherwise I'd probably kill myself. But yeah, I don't know if I'll make a We Was Kang Shadows review yet. Maybe, I'm not like entirely sure about it. Like, there's just not that much to talk about, and I feel like I've already talked about a decent amount of the controversies already in this video. But yeah, dog shit video from a dog shit creator. If you liked, subscribe, I guess. But yeah, I'll try to upload some more shit later. I don't know though. And like, all honesty, it is quite pathetic how this motherfucker is shilling for Ubisoft of all companies. You know, We Was Kang Shadows. Like, have some self fucking respect, hello bro. Like, really, have some self fucking respect.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.